So now we're ready to hook up the linkage, and as you can see here we have a few different options. This is what I'm going to go with on my plane today, is one of these MPI servo arms that we sell. This is a 1.5 inch, and I'll talk about that more in just a second, but I want to first cover a couple other options you have. In the kit, we supply you for free with these carbon fiber arms. Now what you need to do is bond this to another arm, a circle arm, so that you can fit that gear. Now your servos are going to come with a circle arm like this, but it's made of nylon, as you can see here. So you just run the screws through to the nuts, which are provided in the kit as well with these carbon fiber arms. But I do not recommend using these nylon ones, again, unless you're going to fly very mild scale type of flight. If you're doing 3D, we recommend getting these aluminum circle arms that we sell. They're a few bucks a piece, and give you a much more secure connection to the carbon fiber arm. One other thing I want to note is these carbon fiber arms, as you can see, they've got 3 holes. These are made for a few different size planes. You want to be sure that when you're setting up your plane, the distance from the servo gear to the tip of the arm is about the same as from the hinge line in the gap here, not from the top, but towards the gap, to the center line of your horn here. So this measurement here should match this measurement here. These MPI arms actually have a couple divots here as well, and you can drill these. You could even use a hand drill. Aluminum is soft enough that this does not require much to drill, but if you just use a motorized drill, it's very easy to get through. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to use this arm for my setup. Another thing you want to consider is when you put this arm on, this servo may not be centered. So the last thing you want to do is set this up and then turn on your servo and have it throw to where it throws this surface, binds this, and breaks your plane or breaks the servo. So you want to gently, do not work these servos manually. You want to be very gentle with these. You don't want to break gears or grind gears. But very gently kind of push this until it stops, and then make sure that you have an even amount of throw on the opposite side here. And you can see this one is centered. So when it comes on, we're going to be near the center point. Every time you turn on your radio and you're playing for the first time, you're going to have to adjust this. You may find that you have to take this arm off and move it one tooth, one way or the other. But for now, I'm just going to put this down, and I will lightly put my screws in just so I don't lose them. But when I go to set up the radio, I'm actually going to go through and take all these off and manually adjust them as centered as I can before I proceed with any radio sub-trim. So now we're ready to attach the servo arm to both the servo and the linkage here. These MPI arms that I have on this plane, the hole was too small, so for the bolt that comes with the kits. These kits come with, I guess these are about 3 millimeter bolts is the diameter. So I had to drill this out. I used an 11/64 inch bit and drilled this out. It was a pretty snug fit, but after just putting it in and using a drill to kind of guide it down, I was able to basically kind of rethread that and get it fully seated. So now, once again, I already tested the full range of the servo to make sure that this is the center point or close to the center point of the servo. So we know when we turn it on, it's not going to really just throw this surface like crazy. The next thing we're going to do is just tighten down these bolts using a 2.5 millimeter Allen key and holding this with a wrench. And same thing here, 2.5 Allen key, and then putting our washer and nut or nut on the bottom of this and securing it to the arm. The very last thing you're going to do is these MPI arms, if you're using these, they come with a small bolt that goes in here and clamps this closed onto the gear. You want to make sure you use a little Loctite here. And then lastly, I'm not going to use Loctite at the moment because, as I mentioned, when I do final testing and setup, I'm going to take these screws out and manually adjust more than likely. But you'll use your screw that came with the servo and any lock washer that came with the servo, especially if you're metal on metal. Make sure you're using lock washers and make sure you use Loctite. But that'll be your last step when you make your final adjustments after we turn on the radio. For now, you want to go ahead and fully secure these bolt and nuts, this bolt and nut, and this bolt here with this one using Loctite. Both of these have nylon inserted nuts, so you don't need to worry about Loctite on those.